Hello, my name is Thaïs de Ruyter. I am a PhD student from Belgium and I am affiliated with Ghent University and Hasselt University. I am going to talk to you today about how our lifestyle and our environmental exposures can impact our biological aging. First, I'll start with some background. Telomeres are the protective end caps of our chromosomes and they protect our DNA from degradation. Telomere length is a biomarker for biological aging and also a risk factor for several age-related diseases. Each cell division, our telomeres shorten, and we call that telomere attrition. Lifestyle and environmental exposures might influence this telomere attrition, and that is why the objective of this study was to explore the associations between lifestyle, environmental exposures, and the longitudinal telomere change in childhood. For this study, we used a subpopulation of the Idefix cohort, which are all Belgian children recruited in schools in the city of Aalter in 2008 and 2010, and they were followed up in 2015. At both the baseline and the follow-up visits, blood was collected from the children, and the DNA was isolated from the white blood cells, and using qPCR, the average relative telomere length was measured. We collected data on a lot of different exposures, which you can see here on the slide. The data was collected using questionnaires, physical examinations, and also by geocoding the residential address of the children and using this together with existing models of air pollution and residential green space maps. We investigated the individual exposures, but we also wanted to investigate lifestyle as a whole. And that is why we combined all these exposures in one metric, the multi-exposure factor. A higher multi-exposure factor reflects in fact an unhealthier lifestyle or more unhealthy exposures, while a lower multi-exposure factor reflects a healthier lifestyle. All these data were analyzed using linear regression models with the baseline exposures and the multi-exposure factor as a predictor, and as an outcome we used telomere attrition, which was corrected for the follow-up period. The analyses were all corrected for age, sex, and socioeconomic status of the parents. We found in the study that 2 of the individual exposures were significantly associated with telomere shortening. First, we found that waist circumference was positively associated with telomere shortening, and thus this means that children with a lower waist circumference at baseline had less telomere attrition, and children with higher waist circumference at baseline had more telomere attrition. We found the opposite relationship in residential green space, where we found that more residential green space in the baseline was associated with less telomere attrition during the follow-up period. We performed some sensitivity analysis on the green space metrics, and we tested several buffers around the residence of the children. On the figure here we can see that we mainly see a significant effect between the high green, which is indicated here in green, and high green was in fact defined as all vegetation higher than 3 meters. And we see that this association is not significant for the low green, so the vegetation lower than 3 meters. Lastly, we combined all exposures in the multi-exposure factor, and we see on the figure that participants with a higher multi-exposure factor, which reflects in fact an unhealthier lifestyle, had more telomere shortening during the follow-up period, and thus a faster biological aging. So, to conclude, in the study we found that residential green space is associated with slower telomere attrition, while waist circumference is associated with higher or faster telomere attrition. We found that the effect of residential green space was mainly due to high green, and that this was the most important factor of the green space. And lastly, that more unhealthy exposures are associated with a faster telomere attrition. So lastly, I would like to thank you for listening, and if you have any questions beyond what is presented in this poster, please feel free to contact me using the contact details below here on the slide.